Okay, to transform Onslaught into his alt mode, first you want to open up his hands and bring down his thumb and untab the gun and put that to the side. And then you want to straighten out his arm and then lift it up on the hinge. And then you want to lift up, untab and lift up the forearm panel piece and then rotate that down 180, and then rotate at the lower bicep the forearm up 180, and then you want to tab the panel piece of the forearm, give it a good squeeze, and then here you want to lift up his hand to untab the panel that the wrist is attached to all the way so it's straight, and then you want to flatten out his hands like so. And then here you could see there is a panel piece that you want to bring out like so. And this, I want to point out, there is the it's a hooking tab, so you need to pull out and then lift it up to untab that, and then bring out this panel piece, fold it up all the way, and then we got one side done. And now you could do the same on the other. Okay, after you got the other side done, then you want to rotate the head around 180 and then come to the side here, and you could see the turret is attached to the back piece here, but you need to untab it by opening up the side panel pieces of the turret. So here I like to grab here for support and grab close to the base, and then slowly, carefully, gently pull to untab it. Don't just pull it down, because you need to use force, and if you do it that way you might do it too much and you might actually cause stress down here. So pull it down slowly and carefully and rotate it around. Do the same on the other side. You need to apply force slowly and gently, and then you could see now it comes untabbed. It's a hooking tab that goes in right there. After you untab it, then you could bring these two back together, close it up, and then we can lift up this panel piece. That's the top of the vehicle and the hood. And once you got that, then let's make them stand here so we can come up a little bit more. Once you got that done, then you could bend him down a little bit so that now we can untab the side of his chest piece, bring it forward and rotate it around. Do the same on the other side. And then once you untab that, then you can bring him down all the way. So basically lifting this piece up, and then you need to now bring down this panel piece that forms his waist, fold that up and then fold that in, and then you do the same thing on the other side. You want to bring down his waist panel piece and then fold that up and in like so. And then here you want to bring down these doors so that you access these wheels, and then you want to lift the tire up and then rotate it around 180, and you want to try to make sure you get it straight, because it doesn't lock in place. So don't have it up too much or too low. Try to get it as straight as you can, and then you do the same on the other side. Lift up the wheel and then rotate this around 180, so you're trying to get this as straight as you can. Once you got that done, then we can now slowly adjust these arms in. So you see I'm bringing it in, but I'm also rotating it a little bit. And you need to do that so you have the clearance here. So you could see now this can come down. Because if you do it like this, which is supposed to be, you could see now it's hitting. So I'm setting it up by bringing it out and turning it in a little so there's the angle so that this can come down. Okay, then let's bend his leg so we can get a better view up here. Yeah, here's the front grille. You want to bring it down, and then you see the headlights for the vehicle. You want to bring these out on both sides. And after you do, then on this double hinge, you could rotate this up. And this does not tab in, but you could see it's supposed to fit that contour. So save that for the end. And then you could see now we can bring this down, but I need to point out what, so you know what you're doing. There are the tabs and the slots that go in. So first you need to bring this down. And now the arms, you want to bring it in and then rotate it up at this shoulder. So once you have this down where this corner piece is now in, now you want to bring these arms in and then rotate the shoulder up. And then you want to do the same on the other side. You want to rotate this in. And once you do, make sure the shoulder's straight and the forearms straight because they don't lock in place. And now you could tab in those two pieces. You can't really see, but you can line up the shape and then you could feel it go in and then give it a good squeeze. After you got that done, then like I said, this front grille doesn't really tab in here, but it does tab in right here on the top. So now you just kind of help guide that into that contour shape, fit it in, tab it in, give it a good squeeze. And then now the door and windows, so you lift up the window piece, which is a little hard because they did not give you like a little groove for your nail magic square. And then here, this is important, this little panel piece to form that rectangular shape of the door. And then you need to have this up so that this is gonna close, but you also need to make sure you're aware that this is a double hinge, so you can't just close it like this. You need to get the other side so that you're bringing this forward all the way. But you do need to have this up so that this can reach. And this is not as simple as this. Now close it in, tab it in, because this window piece, the corner kind of gets in the way. So what I like to do to make it easier is bend it down just a little bit so it will go in this corner. But you need to also be aware of the tab, the slot, the where is it? The tab here, the slot there, and then there's another tab in a slot, and then there's this puzzle piece that goes in. So you have to just focus on this corner area to get it underneath that roof, and then these should line up, tab it in, and it should also tab in here. Sometimes the bottom doesn't tab in, so I have to kind of squeeze. So let's do it again and see if it does it. So again, first you need to lift up the window piece that doesn't have like a little slot to make it easy, but lift it up. And then you want to bring out this small panel piece, complete that rectangular shape for the door. And like I said, you need to make sure you bend this down a little bit so that that corner will tuck in underneath. And make sure you push this all the way forward on that double hinge. Make sure that this is up, because that kind of gets in the way from the door closing if you have it down. And then make sure you get this all lined up, focusing right here at this corner. Tab it in, and I guess I did a good job because it tabs in. Again, sometimes it doesn't tab in here where I have to grab here and here and then squeeze to make sure that gets tabbed in. And then we got that done, and you can bring down these wheels which does not like lock in place easily by a little nub that I call a speed bump. So sometimes it goes back in, but just pointing it out because it might fall back in. But you could bring it out and rotate it to try to stop it from folding in. And then we have the front part somewhat done. Now we should bring down his legs again and get him set up, because now we need to start working on the lower half. So let's come down now, and first we need to rotate the hips around 180, and then we need to open up these leg pieces. So first let's spread his legs out at an A stance so we have some room here, and then we will focus on this side. So what you want to do is use the ankle rocker for his foot, and then on the double hinge bring it out like so. And then there's cavity here, so you could push down to bring down to untab the back panel piece. So it's the foot, then the back, and then it's the top. So you want to untab this top piece and bring this up. And this piece, you want to fold in this corner piece, this tab up, so you have that little clearance that you need for the turret space right here. After that, then you want to untab the inner side of the lower leg. Just push that out, and then that will allow you to now lift up this top piece. And then we can now untab the outer part of the lower leg at the knee. And then you could see the double hinge here. Now you want to extend these two down. So use that double hinge, bring it down, and also the other side, bring it down. And then now we need to bring this foot back up and in. Make sure this is straight and flush. This is the rear lights right here. And then the foot, you want to push it down. It's on a double hinge, so make sure this goes down all the way. And then you need to bring it back up, but you need to make sure there's a little wall up here so that this piece can come down and tab in. So once you got that, then you can tab that in. And then now you could finish bringing this down to tab this in. Once you got that done, then you come to the back, and then you fold up his heel. And then we want to rotate out this back piece here. And then there is a little panel piece here that you want to bring out like so. And then we have one side done. And then you could do the same on the other side. Okay, after you got that side done, now you could see that this side has a panel piece that forms the center. So you want to bring that out. And then now we can come up here to the knees and these joints, the double jointed knee. You want to push that back like so. So I'll show you again, do the same thing. You want to push the thigh back, push the lower leg forward on the double hinge like so. And then we want to open up these hip skirts from the back, which will allow you to open up the side skirts. And here I want to point this all out. This is a double hinge hip joint, right? The top one, the green, is a ratcheted joint. And then the bottom one is the black one, is a hinge joint. So what you want to do is just get like one click on the green joint. So you kind of have to hold, and then you hear that one click, and then you could see the angle. And then on the friction joint on the black piece, you want to bring that down so it's straight. So do the same on the other side. So again, you're trying to engage the top joint that has the ratchet on the green, and click that one click, and then the friction joint on the bottom one, bring that down. So now you see it straight, and then you can kind of close the hip skirt. It is going to be open like so. And then we can bring up his hips here. You could see that's going to go up and in. And now you could see that this is the wheels are lined up. So now let's put this down, and let's do it this way. Now let's come down so we can get a better view here. And then, yeah, I think this works a little bit better. Now we need to create the space for these pieces to come up and over. So what you need to do is grab the turret from up here to untap that one post that goes in that slot. And then once you do, you could see there's hinges here. You want to bring these up to make it smaller here. And then we're going to fold up this side, the left side. So that means we need to rotate this to the right side. And then you see we have the clearance here. And yeah, you need to keep this down. And then there are the two tabs and the slots. Line that up and tab that in. And then here, I'm pointing out the tab, the slot. There's a tab and a slot. And then this slot here for the mushroom tab. So you need to get all that lined up, tab it in, and give it a good squeeze. Now we got this side done. After we got this side done, then we need to take this turret and then rotate it to the left side so we could do the same on the right side. So flip this over. Again, just find the tabs and the slot, line it up, tab it in. And then this right here, you want to make sure that this goes in. It's a mushroom tab, so you want to line that up, tab that in, and got that. And then we can tab that in, and then here do the same thing, find these tabs, line it up, tab it in. And you could do this before or after, but I just doing it at the end. You tab these two lower parts together. And then the last part is now you could rotate this back to this top. And you have an option here. You can either bring it down this way, or you could bring it down and up. And then you could bring this together this way. So whichever way, I'm going to do it this way. So it's going up, down, and up, down, and up. And then I'm going to tab these two in together. And then we can make sure we get this up. You could see it's angled. So make sure you pull that so it's now up 90 degrees. And then the last thing, you could pull these turrets out. Which, yeah, this I think could have just been done a little bit better. And angle these up. And here you want to just double check these wheels, because like I said, they easily go back in. And then once you got all of that done, you have the option here. You can fold this up. There's that little tab and the slot. You could put it on either side, put it in, and then you could angle this up if you want. And now we have Onslaught in his alt mode.